So, in terms of what's happening now, we've got Stephen Flynn, obviously, SNP Westminster leader, who's going to try to bring this bill forward.
Yes.
How hopeful are you? Because the government's made clear it cannot afford, or it says it cannot afford to pay out the compensation at the levels that WASPI women are asking for.
They said a lot more than that. They said we must have known, 90% of us knew, on evidence that is not recognisable to us or to the Ombudsman. And they said that had we had letters earlier, we wouldn't read them.
Is that true in your case?
No, we read them when we got them. They started sending letters 2009 until 2013. I got mine 2012. If we hadn't read those letters, there wouldn't be a WASPI campaign, because we wouldn't have had anything to argue about, because we still wouldn't know until we got our state pension.
You referenced what the government had said. I'll just read out some of the statement that they've given us. They say they've apologised for there being a 28-month delay in writing to 1950s-born women. They go on to say, however, evidence showed only 1 in 4 people remember reading and receiving letters that they weren't expecting, and that by 2006, 90% of 1950s-born women knew the state pension age was changing. Earlier letters wouldn't have affected this. For these and other reasons, the government can't justify this bill.
Yes. Well, that 90% knows question wasn't a question that said, do you know your state pension age? It was a question that said, do you know that state pensions are rising in the future, or something along those lines? It was a very general question. And it was put to the general public. And in the sample, there were only 203 WASPI women responded. And from that statistically not sound sample, they've estimated that then 90% of us must have known our own state pension age.
I think the situation is, as I look in on it, and we've spoken about it a lot on this programme, government's digging its heels in.
Yes,
you're digging your heels in, as you always have, you know, because you're fighting for what you believe in.
Yes.
I don't know where this goes.
Well, I mean, Sir John Hayes led a debate in Westminster last week. He, like many other MPs and citizens, are now worried about the constitutional implications of this, because the government is elected to govern, to make decisions. That's their job. But there are protections in place, and one of those protections, for citizens especially, is the Ombudsman. And if any government department damages a citizen, they have the right to complain to the Ombudsman. He is seen as the fair broker.
But it's not obligatory to do what the Ombudsman says.
Yeah, his report goes to government and they decide. But if they don't do what he says, there's no point having that process.